It's the Goody Two-Shoe Show. It's the Goody Two-Shoe Show. This the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Yeah, I got some new shoes on. Yeah, the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Goody Two-Shoe Show. Goody Two-Shoe Show. This the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Yeah, I got some new shoes on. Yeah, I got some heat this week. 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 Yeah, new releases of some OGs. Yeah, let's talk about it with some OGs. Yeah, got them Jordans and them SBs. Yeah, ultra boosting for the hype beast. Yeah. Look, if you ain't get them early, then you got them late. Let's talk about it every Saturday around 8. Every week, new pickups with a new guest. Challenging their minds as we put them to the shoe test. Shoe flex, breaking necks, it's a fire. Got a whole room full of gems I acquired. Sometimes the seller, but most times the buyer. Open up the box and it sound like a choir. It's the Goody Two-Shoe Show. It's the Goody Two-Shoe Show. This the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Yeah, I got some new shoes on. Yeah, the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Goody Two-Shoe Show. Goody Two-Shoe Show. This is the Goody Two-Shoe Show. Yeah, I got some new shoes on. Yeah, I got some heat this week. Yeah, I got some heat this week. Yeah, I got some heat this week. Yeah.
Yo. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Excited to be back.
Yes, sir. Happy Saturday, and happy Saturday to everybody who's tuning in right now. You are tuned into the Goody Two-Shoe Sneaker Show. We are on episode 5. I lost count. So when Aaron asked what episode it was, I was like, I don't even know. But we're here. Episode 5 is in full effect. And we're super excited to have you. All those who are tuning in right now, looks like we got about 30 people or so. We appreciate you being here. If you can take 2 seconds and hit that share button. Usually you're on your phone. It's at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Hit that share button. Tag a couple of sneakerhead friends, whoever, whatever. Invite them. The more the merrier. We'd love to have them. So take a second to do that. And that is that. How's your guys' week been?
Pretty chill.
Mine's been busy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week, man. It's been a crazy week, but it's been good. Can't complain.
I feel like this is what I look forward to at the end of my week. Like, you know how it's been like a busy week or a bad week or whatever. I always know that at the end of the week, we got the show. And I'm like, man, that's just going to make it end on a high note, on a good note, on a fun note, whatever. So I think if it does that for us, I'm hoping it does it for you guys as well that are watching. So again, we appreciate you being here.
Word.
So with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and just start with our newest segment to the show, which is called Heat This Week. But first, I need to tell my computer to allow screen sharing. 1 second.
Yeah, while Carlos does that, just a quick reminder to tag us in all your pictures, tag Goody Two-Shoes LV, and use the hashtag Heat This Week for an opportunity to be featured in this segment. And so
it can be what do you wear today's, it can be new pickups, anything involving your heat, tag us in it. We want to see it.
Man, I was not expecting this. I updated my computer software and everything has to just
be difficult.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's go on. Let's do new releases real quick, and I'll mess with these. I'll mess with these settings and figure out if I can get it to let me share my screen. Is that cool?
Sounds good with me. Let's get into it then.
New releases of some OGs, yeah. Let's talk about it with some OGs, yeah.
All right. New releases it is. There we go. October 10th. This is the Jordan 3 Royal. Basically a black cement 3 with a royal blue upper, royal blue jump man. royal blue Jordan on the bottom. This is a shoe that I will not be going for or even want. But it is a cool shoe. I don't know. Kind of reminds me of a lot of the fakes from the early 2000s. But what do you guys think?
That's going to be a no, dog.
And they couldn't even put Nike Air on the back.
Is it a Jumpman?
Yeah, if these are the official images, and
Yikes.
Then yeah, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog.
Same. I'm gonna have to pass on these. I don't know if I like. For some reason, like I don't like a blue on a Jordan. Like I don't know if it doesn't feel right because he played for the Bulls. You
That's
know,
not
like
true.
I don't know. I don't like unless it's a Carolina blue. But
You
this
like the French
royal
blue
blue.
12s?
I like the what?
But it's
The
not.
French blue 12s.
But the French blue 12s aren't predominantly blue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like this shoe predominantly blue.
No, I feel you. This is one of those shoes where, like, if money was expendable, I would get it and just like put it in storage or something, because you like never know, you know. But these are definitely gonna be you're gonna see everyone with these. You will see the guys with the white pants and these on at the club every every Saturday or Friday night, whenever you guys go to the club. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is
Aren't these like the DJ Khaled's?
yeah, so there is like a We the Best. There, like the red ones was also like a We the Best, like PE or whatever you want to call them, or player artist exclusive. It's not really a player, but yeah, I don't know, man. Nike kind of was just like, let's make these widely available to everyone, I guess. So
Yeah.
anyways, enough talking about that. I think I got too much time, honestly.
Unworthy.
All right, next one. This is one for Aaron, although I think he will not like this shoe. But a new colorway of the Yeezy Boost 700 will be appearing soon, and it is they're calling it the Sun colorway, I believe. This is when we need a soundboard, because this is trash. Yeah, this is literally. This is not one of those like colorways where you're like closer to release date where you're like, oh nah, this is fire. I see the vision. Nah, there's no vision to this one. Stevie
Wonder picked this colorway.
Yeah. This is yeah. Nah, I just
All right.
I don't see the vision. I don't see the vision.
Let's move on. Let's just move on.
All right, this next one, we have this last one. You guys already probably know what it is. I've been talking about this shoe all week. And some of you are probably going to hate this. Some of you might like this Sun Yeezy 700 better than you like these. But all I'm saying is these might be my shoe of the year. But I got to wait. This is the New Balance 550 collab with Amy Leon Dore. I don't know how to say the brand. I'm sorry. Amy Leon Dore. That's what I always say. They brought this model back. They found it in a catalog, brought it back, and did some fire colorways to play in with kind of the theme of fashion nowadays. I 100% will be trying everything in my power to get any colorway. I really, really want the white and gray. Of course, if you know me, I love white and gray. But I will take any colorway of these. And you know, I've been rocking with Amy Leon Dore. So if anybody wants to say I'm new to this, I strike out on a lot of their releases. But what do you guys think? Because I honestly feel like this silhouette, the colors, I might be overhyping it, but in my opinion, this is a beautiful shoe.
Aaron, go ahead.
They're cool. I won't be trying for them. I'll try to get you a pair, Brian, if I can hit I'll try to get it for you. I couldn't see myself pulling them off. They're a cool shoe. I like the retro vibe they have, like, but nah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
I dig them. I think they're pretty dope. And that picture that you got pulled up right now, that text, like that font, reminds me a lot of like the old school Apple logo, and just the whole vibe of this ad right here really kind of hits home for me in that regard. I worked for Apple for 4 years, and I just loved their advertising, especially their older stuff. But the shoe is classic. I think it's an awesome, resurrection of this cool silhouette. But I just like the details. I think the off-white, no pun intended, it's not off-white, but the off-white midsole is an awesome touch, which I know you're a fan of. I'm a fan of as well, Brian. And then I'm curious, I can see on the front pair, the white and red one, it has like a two-toned sole to kind of match some of the colors on the uppers. I'm wondering if it's the same for the green and the gray and stuff like that.
So it looks like those don't have a two-tone sole. I'm just basing it off of this white and gray pair right here.
Yeah.
But either way, I think that's a really clean look.
Yeah.
I think those red ones, that makes those red ones really, really stand out. So
it's hit or miss. Like, I feel like my wife would be the first one to say that she saw an 87-year-old man walking around the mall with these on before the stores opened, with 3 of his friends in those suits that make that noise when you walk. But I dig these shoes. I think they're dope.
Yeah, no, this is, like I said, it's a reissue. So if you want, I can look it up real quick, actually, when they reissued it from. I don't want to take too much time on this, although this does deserve a lot of time, in my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. But
that pic with the broom is not the business, Michael says in the comments.
That's horrible. Like, you put it next to one of those like straw brooms, and then tile is like all broken, and no.
I think the Miami Heat are actually sitting behind those shoes. They're
and on that note, no, I can't find the information, but when I have it, we'll probably post it on the Instagram. So make sure you're following us there. But yeah, that was our upcoming releases. So be on the lookout for that. October 9th for those New Balances. If anyone has a good heart and wants to help me try and get a pair or two.
What size?
I'm just going to go with 11.5. That's usually like my safe size. I don't know how they run,
sure.
But 11.5.
Cool. Thank you, Brian. As always, your work with the new releases is always interesting, and it gives us a chance to share good opinions and bad ones. We don't always just have stuff that we like as new releases. Clearly, LeBron's never make your list, so it's never stuff that everybody likes, but we'll go on to
tell them to drop a good colorway and a good model.
and then you're all for it. All right. The segment that I was trying to do before, and now I've let my system preferences do their thing. We'll go on to the Heat this week segment.
Oh, yeah, I got some heat this week. Yeah. I got some heat.
So first up, we have none other than I'll call him my nephew. He's Jay the Kid, Jay Shin, who does our theme song. This is his son. His name is Jaden. He's going to be a legend. He already has some heat on his feet, but Jaden with the up tempos. That's a nice colorway. I saw a pair at the mall yesterday. Actually, they were the navy blue and white ones, kind of like the Olympics, but a little bit different. But I think these look amazing. Probably even better on a little kid's foot than they do on an adult. But awesome shoe. So thank you, Jaden, for rocking some heat this week. Next, we have none other than our guy, the real shoe monster, rocking the white SB Dunk Tiffany's. These came out just a couple of years ago, along with some black ones and some yellow ones. And the cool thing about these shoes, if you guys aren't aware, that the swoosh, the metallic silver swoosh, it is Velcroed to like a teal, or I guess I should say Tiffany color blue swoosh underneath. So you can unvelcro that swoosh, which is kind of a cool touch. I don't know if I'd ever rock them without the teal or without the swoosh on there, but I don't know. Awesome pair. Probably get dirty really easily, but that's just me hating on an all-white shoe. Anyhow, next up, this is my guy, Ronnie. Me and Ronnie go way back. Like my freshman year of high school, he was one that I would go to dunk exchanges with, and we were always rocking anything and everything that we could. But he sent me a picture out of the blue this week. He's like, hey, I got your Heat this week. And I was like, oh, you watched the show? I was like, oh, okay. Let's see what you got. So he sent me this picture. He's got some Jordan 7 lows on. These came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's not a pair you see very often. So thanks, Ronnie, for supporting the show and tagging us on Instagram. We appreciate that. And last but not least, good old Henry tagged us on his story. This was a boomerang, as you can see here. So my screenshot didn't come out super clear, but as you can see, this is the Kobe 5 undefeated pack. And I'm jealous, along with plenty of other people, I'm sure. So that is that. That is our Heat this week. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And like Aaron said earlier, if you'd like to be featured, please just tag us in your stuff on Instagram or Facebook and hashtag it Heat this week, and we'll make sure that your stuff gets on our episode next week. So, man, I'm out of breath. It's been a long day. All right, so we'll keep it moving. And, well, before we do that, anybody who's hopped on in the last couple of minutes, welcome, first of all. And second of all, if you have not had a chance yet, please share the video. Invite any of your friends to come on and hang out with us. Brian and Aaron, do you guys have anything else to say before we move on to maybe the most exciting segment of our show?
No, yeah, I'm ready to see what Aaron's got to show us, because he's been hyping this up. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so we'll go on to the sneaker spot.
Yeah, I had to do it. So I'm just gonna show off 2 pairs this week, and then I'm gonna save some for the other one. One of them is a grail of mine from when I was a kid, and I got these in crazy condition. The Flint 19s.
You know what's funny is I remember when you got those as a kid. Like I still remember that like it was yesterday. Crazy.
One of my favorite shoes of all time, just the 19s. I've actually have quite a bit of 19s now, which is kind of crazy because 2 weeks ago I didn't. And then the East Coast 19s. These are crazy. That navy blue colorway. It has the East on the inside of like the shield. But
dang. That's the colorway I've always wanted. Even when I was a kid, that was the colorway I wanted. That's crazy.
This week I also picked up the royal blue and then the white and red 18s, all with OG box. Crazy, just like, I know a lot of people don't appreciate the Jordans past 14, but for me, just like the nostalgia, being able to pick up OG pairs from 04, 03 with OG box and in this condition, you can't complain, right? And so I have some more coming in to show in future weeks, but that's my sneaker spotlight of the week, the Flint 19s and East Coast 19s.
That's dope. I'm happy for you because I know how much those shoes or that silhouette or just those later numbered Jordans mean to you. So it's super fun to watch somebody get something that they love, something that they've had before and let go of and reacquired. So that's always awesome. So any recent pickups or things like that you guys have in the comments, let us know what you picked up here recently. We'd like to know that. So it's 7:20, 10:20 in DC. Speaking of DC, we want to bring in one of DC's finest into our show as our special guest today. We have none other than our guy, Johnnyskicks.
Goody Two-Shoe Show. It's the Goody Two-Shoe Show. This is the Goody Two-Shoe.
What's going on, guys?
Yo, Johnny. How are you?
Doing well. Man, I'm tired out here, bro. I'm an old man.
Oh, I bet, man. We appreciate you staying up with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
It seems like the coolest people that we find are on the East Coast. No offense to anybody on the West Coast or, back in Vegas, but like we've had a bunch of people on from the East Coast so far this season, and everybody's been super cool about staying up a little bit later to come on the show. So we do appreciate it. We won't keep you super long, but we have some fun things to talk about, and I know that you have some great things to show. So we'll just go ahead and get it started. We want you to maybe introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from, and in a nutshell, what you do for a living.
Yeah, sure. Johnnyskicks. Currently out here in DC. Was out in LA for a while. Been designing sneakers for a long ass time. Obviously, with the whole Instagram thing, you see a lot of people posting sneaker after sneaker, the new releases. I started doing something a little bit different because my collection just grew way too large. Like I had I think 600 pairs at one point, and I wasn't appreciating them. And then I saw, instead of just continually buying them, I was like, you know what? I went to school for graphic design. Let me just see if I can just take this shoe and then change it in some way, shape, or form via Adobe. And then I changed it, and people seemed to like it. People were asking if it was samples or if it was coming out, this, that, and then I just kind of curved my own lane, and that's really kind of how it all started. I just started changing every single shoe that I could, and now I'm taking all the designs that I was designing and then putting in the hands of creatives and makers, and now I'm making like every concept I ever thought of.
Wow,
that's amazing.
That's crazy.
So we wanted to kind of get a feel for your background, not just as like a sneaker customizer, but like deeper into that, because what you do is art, and we appreciate the art form of it. So we wanted to kind of see, what's that journey been like for you? What's your background with art, and how has that kind of played into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I went to school for graphic design. And then, I was doing a lot of graphics, and, I've always collected sneakers. I've been collecting sneakers for like 20 years. And then when Instagram came, it was just kind of like a perfect meld of like everything that I liked. It was like shoes, graphics, photography, everything like that. And then really fast forward a while, doing the whole Instagram thing, I had a very unique opportunity to go work for the shoe surgeon out in Los Angeles. So I was his executive assistant for a while. So I kind of got to understand and see like the back end of like the whole individual shoemaking process, like not only from a factory standpoint, from being able to see a shoe go from like something to deconstructed to remade with whatever you want, but then actually being able to run a business. Working with private clientele and working with different corporate entities, and, going from the design phase to actual creating a shoe. So, so I worked with him for a long time. And then a lot of the guys that were working out there with me at the time, we all kind of just sprawled out and kind of did our own thing. So you'll see guys like the Heyman, who I worked with. Nick, he's killing it. If you've seen any of his work, me and him were out there together, and we kind of just figured, let's just kind of do our own thing. We're all creatives. We all kind of know what we're doing, and we all have something like different to bring to the table. And then that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
So it's awesome that you got to work with the shoe surgeon and kind of see, like you said, the back end of things along with these other people. You said you guys all spread out to do your own thing. At what point, working with the shoe surgeon, at what point did you realize like, hey, I can do this on my own? Like, what was it that kind of clicked and said, all right, I'm ready to go off and do my own thing?
I think it was like the amount of hours. And then it's like, I don't know. I've been in the sneaker industry for like 20 years. So it wasn't anything like new. It was really just like putting in the grind time and realizing how much time he puts into the craft and like puts into the actual business itself, and knowing that it's just like, realistically, half the battle is coming up with an idea, and then the other half is being able to implement that idea, right? And so I pretty much the design aspect was like the easiest part for me. That was the most frustrating part for me, is because I was designing a new shoe. I want to say I was designing 5 pairs of shoes every single day for 5 years. So I had like a stockpile of all these designs and no way of like being able to create it. So one of the biggest reasons why I moved out there to work with him was to figure out how to actually make shoes at a very high level and figure out how he does it, like as far as releases and how many he releases and all that stuff. So I got to see like so closely how his business works. And then it really was just a fact of, all right, well, I'm putting in all this time. It's just relentless hours. And it's just like, all right, I don't know. Everything kind of just lined up. It's so hard to explain. Everything, it was just like perfect timing where it was just like, I knew, okay, I can do this. And then I just kind of went out, and then very shortly after, everything just kind of took off.
That's awesome.
That's kind of how things work out, man. It's like when you know it's supposed to be done, everything's just going to fall into place and work out accordingly. So, Carlos, I don't know if you have any more questions, but I'm super excited to see some shoes, man, because
we've got a few, but I feel like as we're asking these questions, feel free to show a shoe or like explain maybe the process that you take when you're designing and things of that nature. But do you have like a favorite silhouette or a favorite model that you like to throw custom ideas onto, and what would that be?
No, I think that's what's kind of cool with what I'm doing is you see a lot of customizers in the industry like working on the same silhouettes. And since I've been doing this, like I've honestly released, I think 4 or 5 different silhouettes. Like I'm trying to hit so many different shoes. Like I don't want to just do a Jordan 1. Like just this year alone, I'm going to be doing a Jordan 1 high, Jordan 1 low, Jordan 1 mid, SB Dunk high, low, Sakai's, Air Max 90s, Air Force 1s. And that's all within this calendar year. So it's, I'm just trying. Me personally, I love Air Max 90s. I love Air Force 1s. I love Jordan 1s. I think those, I mean, as far as a silhouette, what I've grown up wearing, what I like to wear, that's kind of like my deal. But I mean, I don't know how many shoes I showed you guys the last time I was on here, but obviously the one that kind of started it all, as far as the releasing goes, this is the first one I actually released to the public. So I'm sure you guys have seen this shoe like everywhere. It got remade by damn near half the Chinese factories out in Europe or out in China. But I ended up having mine made just in Los Angeles from a buddy of mine who works at a factory that normally sews like Louis and Gucci product. But because of the COVID thing, they were kind of out of work. They couldn't go to the factory. And so I ended up hitting him up when and just said, hey, you want to work? And then he ended up putting them together. And yeah, that's how it kind of all started. But we ended up sourcing with Ben & Jerry's to get like all the materials for this too, though. So it's like everything on here is like authentic to the dunk itself. So it's like the pony hair is the same, the swoosh is the same, the inner lining is the same. Wow. Like this isn't painted. Like this is like an actual inner lining fabric that we used. So, yeah. So it was kind of meticulous detailing, but it was a shoe that I had like in 4 months in the works, and then once I put it out, man, those factories acted very, very fast.
How do you feel about that?
It's kind of frustrating. In one way, it's kind of like imitation is the finest form of flattery. So I guess you kind of know you've made it in a way because they've snagged so many of those. Because while I'm on the topic of that, I'll just bring these out. So this was a shoe that I had of one made from Mosh. So I ended up posting this as a concept, and then Mosh actually DM'd me. It was like, yo, I would literally be able to crush that shoe. So I just said, get it. I sent him a base pair, and then he ended up crushing it out. But then by the time he had actually knocked this out, factories started actually banging out fakes of these as well before I could actually officially release them. So it was that was kind of frustrating. So what I'm doing now is I'm pretty much just keeping all my releases kind of tight-lipped before I post them up. And then the last one, again, you can't forget about factories. My buddy out in China, he just actually sent both of these over. So I don't know if you guys saw about 4 or 5 months ago, I posted these SBs, like these What the Dunk SBs, 2020 version.
I haven't seen the lows up close yet. I mean, I've seen the pictures that you posted and stuff, but I was a super huge fan of the highs. So I'm happy that you've done a low. Those are incredible.
So this is, and I'm not taking credit for this in any way, but these are Chinese made knockoffs. So this is how far they're willing to go, right? If you guys should go on my Instagram and you see the pictures of my What the Dunks that I created, I basically took an SB Dunk in Photoshop, right? And I put it like this. And then I basically cropped out different panels of different SBs, right? And I just put them on just wherever I wanted to do it. But I mean, I got like the Travis Scott here, the Freddy Kruegers, the Reese Forbes, Yellow Lobsters, This is supposed to be the Ben & Jerry's. It's so funny because it's actually some like shit synthetic leather that they use. This was supposed to be like the Papa Bear, the Diamond Supply, Lobsters, Paris. But it's crazy that these factories actually went to the length to be able to make like all these. I mean, the Travises, the Strange Loves, Ben & Jerry's, Diamonds, Plum. I mean,
So where did you find them?
A buddy or somebody that follows me, actually, he saw them on my Instagram and said, yo, like, do you design, like, who are you? Like, because when I go to the market with my wife, I see all of your shoes like in the market. Like, I've seen the Ben & Jerry's, I've seen the Warhawks, seen these, and I was just like, no, they just keep stealing them, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Somebody's got an eye on my page and they just keep stealing all my ideas. And so I just said, is there any way you can just send them over to me so I can just see them in hand to see like what the quality is on them? Because for the Ben & Jerry's, for instance, I didn't go and order a Ben & Jerry's from the factories to see kind of like what the difference was. But with these, I was like, yeah, that's nuts to me.
Do you ever plan on doing picking your designer for that and doing your own version of that shoe?
What, for the dunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I do, I'm going to do a completely different one now, though. But because, I mean, they nailed this one to the head. So, I mean, for me now, anything that I come up with now, it's really just waiting. And then once I have it done and made, it's really like I'm designing it and then holding it off for a specific designer that I have in mind. And then once our timelines meet up, it's kind of like, all right, let's run it. Let's make it. And then once we actually have it made in hand, then I'll start posting pictures of it. But before, I used to post something months in advance.
Is there you talked about bringing them up on Photoshop. Is there like a certain silhouette that's more difficult to design than others, or one that, you know, do you think of the silhouette before you start to design, or do you think of the design and then the silhouette kind of comes to mind that would look good on?
Kind of both. That's actually a really good question. It's both. It's really like, if I have a specific theme, like certain shoes are just hard to like design. Like an Air Max 90 is so hard because of how many panels there are on it. Like, I'm so meticulous with my designing. It's like every little crevice. Like when you look at the designs on my page, like I want you to basically be able to zoom in your photo as tight as possible and still be like, yo, is that real or is that a design? So it's like, for me, it's just, it really all depends. But I was in Adidas for years. Like if you go on my page, it was just like Adidas silhouettes for years. And then when I realized I ever had an opportunity to actually work for the brand, I was just like, yo, fuck this. I'm gonna start just doing Nike stuff. And then, as you guys have been on Instagram, the majority of people on just in shoe collecting in general, and especially in customs, it's like all Nike and Jordan brand. And so like there was this huge gap where I was missing out on like just a base. And then I just started doing Jordans and Nikes, and then everything just kind of just kept exploding. And now I'm making all of them because like every customizer does Nikes. So it's like it works for me because I could just be like, all right, yo, yeah, this is the shoe I designed. All right, here, take it. And then I just wait 3-4 months. I never put them on a time schedule. I'm just like, whenever you get it done, get it done. Once the sample's done, we'll figure out a release date and give it to the people.
Do you ever take requests? Like, I know, like, you know, obviously the shoe surgeon, like people hit him up and ask, is that something that you would consider? Or for right now, are you kind of just bringing to life your designs that you've thought of?
I'm actually moving more into helping people like get one-off projects, because now I have like relationships with people where I can get pretty much anything brought to life, which is really cool. So it's like, if you have a cool enough project, and you know, it's as long as it interests me, but like, yeah, I mean, or I can point you in the right direction to somebody that can actually get like that exact thing done. Because I know so many different customizers, whether they're painters or reconstruction guys, and you know, I might not have the time to do it. But if you DM me and say, yeah, I really want to get this done, I was like, well, I might not be able to do it right now, but this guy sure can. And then, but
Word. Well, something that's been on my mind, especially when you brought up those what the dunk. I don't even know what you want to call them, because they're not yours, but they're your design.
yeah.
Recently in the sneaker community, and I know you had a live about it, the whole Warren Lotus situation. How do you feel about that as a designer, as an artist? and someone who's obviously well known in that space.
I think it's kind of I think it's a little frustrating only as a guy that's in the space, right? Like we fight so hard to get kind of recognition from these companies and these brands for being like creative and elevating their product to something that they don't normally see. And for a guy to come out and I mean, great, amazing designer. He's got amazing clothes, right? As a businessman, it makes sense. I mean, if you're making, even 5,000 sales at $3,000, I mean, you're making like $1.5 million on a grab, right? So it's just like, for me, it sucks because I see people that have gotten his shoes in the past and the quality is trash on like a lot of pairs. Like if it was at the standard where like you're getting it at Nike quality at least, because I mean, you're paying $300 for the shoe, right? So, and he's getting them done in the same factories that hit me up and ask if they can produce my shoes. So it's like I get asked on a daily basis from Chinese factories saying, we can make any shoe that you want to have us make, and we can make it at a decent price, and then you can sell it for whatever you want. Me, I mean, I could be making killing that way, but I'm just like, not appreciate the quality. Quality control is everything to me. So it's especially the Staples Pigeon one. I think that was the one that really kind of just irked me, just because I think everybody understands what that shoe in general means to culture and like what it started just in general for sneakers. From the outside world, like seeing our culture, and for Jeff Staples to just co-sign that for a $500,000 check or whatever it might be, it's kind of sickening, to be honest with you. I'm just like, wow, I didn't really know how to feel about it, but yeah, it's just kind of frustrating because again, like what we do is we like change the whole part of the shoe, right? It's like we're doing something that is elevating the shoe. With him, it's like a couple of dots and a line on a face of a swoosh. It's kind of like, yo, if that's not a money grab, I don't know what is. If the quality was there too, because I think that's another thing what people don't understand. It's like they're taking a stock image of the SB and they're photoshopping a swoosh on it. Right? That's not what you're getting in hand.
It doesn't look like that.
When you actually get that shoe in hand, it's trash. It's like you can tell like the sewing's real bad. Like you could tell that they were like assembly lining like 5,000 pairs of those, like not caring how quick they get them out. So me, I'd rather release 10 to 15 pairs like what I'm doing and make sure those 10 to 15 pairs are like spot on.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like
I've seen people post them recently who have the Heinekens. I use that term loosely, have them in hand. And I seen, close up pictures and it's just terrible. Like when you were holding up those, What the Dunks, like here, pick up one of them. And then point the toe box right at us. Like put the shoe flat and point the toe box right at us. Like that whole shape of that front toe box just looks.
Well, see, what's so crazy is these ones are actually not. If you look at it in hand, like, and you actually look at the stitching, it's not that bad. Like again, these are so. What a lot of people don't know about fakes too is there's like 5 different tiers of fakes. These are like the top tier of fakes, right? So he was like, yeah, I'm just going to get you the top tier fake of this. But he was literally like, yo, what grade of these do you want? I was like, what are you talking about? They have like 4 or 5 different grades of this shoe. And I was like, well, if you're going to send it to me, you might as well just send me the best version of that shoe. But when you look at it, I mean, the forming isn't too bad. The fact that they went out and actually like molded these colored soles too, like to get the soles to match, that's pretty fucking blown too. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I think that leather cow material on the front is pretty funny.
Trash. So sad.
But yeah, it's an interesting time to be into sneakers, and I think it's interesting the perspective that you offer as a designer and as an artist, as well as being somebody who's into sneakers for wearing them. So we appreciate that insight. I think it'll kind of blow over unless he continues down this path of just totally ruining, in my opinion, ruining some of these classic sneakers. Then yeah, it'll just pass over time. But who knows? I mean, any attention is good attention. Like, his name is out there for bad or for good. So people are talking about him. So maybe that's what he's after. I don't know.
Right.
Here's a question I have for you, because I know personally I've tried my darndest to customize a sneaker or 3 or 4 or too many that I probably should have taken on in my lifetime. I know Brian and Aaron have probably messed around with that as well. What would you give as advice to someone who is starting out or who maybe has some aspirations when it comes to customizing a sneaker?
Well, I think it's all depending on what you want to do as a customizer, right? It's like, do you want to reconstruct? Do you want to paint? I mean, those are two different lanes, right? All in itself, right? It's like, it's two completely different lanes. Like there's a shoe surgeon and then there's mosh, right? Like those guys do not go on the same like level, but it's like, it's really just starting. I think that's the biggest thing. I think just starting. If you have like any kind of like artistic vision, I always say if you're going to start painting or anything like that, just go to Angelus. Then damn near got everything you need to start, and then really just trial and error. You know, just what a lot of the designers do. What is so funny to me is because I'm like one of the few guys that actually does like 3D renderings, whereas like a lot of these guys will have like the Jordan coloring book, and they'll just like color in the Jordans with like colored pencils and markers, and to kind of get an idea of like what their shoe is going to look like, right? For me, it's like I'll go on Photoshop or Illustrator and I'll just design the shoe for the designer and then just give it to him and be like, yo, this is exactly what the shoe should look like once you're done. Like there's no like questions. It's like it's like this is what it is. But really, if you wanted to start, there's a lot of different opportunities now within reconstruction too, because so many different people offer schools. I think that's what's kind of cool too. There's SD Custom Footwear. I think they just started doing classes out in San Diego. I know DM Custom Sneakers does like one-on-one classes. JBF Custom does one-on-one classes. The Shoe Surgeon does like group classes. So, I mean, honestly, if you're trying to get into reconstruction or just learn anything about reconstruction, I would definitely take a class because there's so many small steps to doing it, but then just investing in the tooling to like do it. Yeah.
So I have a quick question. So we had Ari on the show, and you know, obviously he's known for the Ari Mentos and what those shoes meant and the message behind them. And so I was just wondering, do you obviously like a lot of the projects you're putting out are just, you know, almost like passion projects, right? Things that you've been coming up with. Do you have any interest or anything in the works that's kind of like a statement shoe? I know you mentioned like Adidas, like you were working super hard and then Adidas kind of never showed any love. So you were just like, all right, moving on. Is that something that interests you, making statement pieces like that? Or are you kind of just wanting to stay on the creative and artistic side of designing and customs?
Yeah, I think everything with me, it's got to be a story. I think that every single shoe that I'm going to be releasing has some kind of either nostalgia in my life or like has some kind of story behind it that's built in. Like on that topic, I guess I'll just, you know, reach into this because I'm actually planning on doing like the whole series at some point. But like, I mean, you want to talk about a story like
that is clean.
So
wow.
This was the Yellow Lobster, Jordan 1 lows.
Wow.
Got the picnic lining on the inside, same picnic lining, logo on the tongue. We ended up doing the Nike Air with the lobster on the tongue instead of the Nike swoosh. We ended up taking the meshing, kind of like the netting that you would get the lobster cages. But the Napa leather, we developed a screen for the lobster skin right here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, storytelling. I mean,
they're so cool.
Yeah, crazy.
Man, it's almost like that colorway was made for that shoe.
Yeah,
it's so clean.
But I mean, the reason why this shoe came into fruition, to be honest with you, is when I designed it originally. I mean, I think everybody knows what this shoe is. If you don't, it's like, I mean, these are unicorns, right? And so it's like when I designed them on a Jordan 1, Dion Point from Concepts DM me. He's like, yo, I don't know what you need to do, but you need to make that shoe. And 4 months later, not only do I have it, but like this is what started like the whole journey of like actually tangibly making my shoes. I was getting a message from Dion saying like, you need to make that shoe. And then I said to myself, all right, if I'm going to make any shoe, I might as well start with this. Now, how do I get it done? And then my buddy DSMC DM me. We got on a FaceTime on IG Live. And then now this project's in the books. And now we have 2 projects a month scheduled every month for the rest of the year. And talking about long-term partnership, which is crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's the right kind of cosign to get from a friend.
Because this is the second one we just dropped.
Don't do it.
Oh, yes.
The Kaws SBs.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so
these are crazy. And this doesn't do it justice. Like, you guys
So-
need to go to his Instagram and check these out. See those pictures.
Yeah.
The detail on these is insane. Your webcam is doing them no justice right now. Brian is right. Make sure you're going over to Johnnyskicks Instagram and shoot him a follow, because the pictures that he has on there of this SB dunk is just insane. So we're seeing some of the details here, but man, this is a well-executed shoe, man. Great job.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. This shoe alone, just to start this project, cost me over $10,000. Like this, like to develop the SB Dunk. First of all, like you don't see a lot of reconstruction artists reconstructing dunks, and so I wanted to make it a point over the next 2 years to really do a lot of storytelling with the dunks. Because if you think about storytelling in general, like what lineage of shoes like tells like the best stories is dunks, right? You can go in on them. And so for me, I'm just glad we finally have the actual SB dunks like developed. So now we're just going to go in. I think I have like 3 or 4 more dunks scheduled to release this year.
Wow.
So I'm really excited. But yeah, the Kaws instant sellout, really I mean, I think they sold out in, I want to say an hour. We left it up for an hour, but they sold out like super fast. And exciting. We got another Kaws drop, SB dunk dropping later this year.
That's amazing. I think now is the good time to ask, because you talked about how much it costed you. I don't know if that's a word. Anyway, Aaron can help me out with that stuff, but I'm curious if you could give us a little bit more insight on why your prices are what they are, because obviously it's not cheap to get these shoes made. So can you give us an idea of what the prices are of the sneakers that you released and why you have priced them at those prices?
For sure. So just to start making shoes, right? Like there's so many different materials and tooling that you need to make the shoe, right? And so it's like with the SB Dunk, for instance, like Connor had never made SB Dunks before, right? So it's like every shoe needs its own last, right? So developing in lasts is expensive. And then when you talk about doing individual sizes, so we actually released a full size run from a size 6 to a size 13, right? And so each one of those lasts costs $250 to develop every single size. And so when you start thinking about 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and then going there, then you have to pattern every single shoe. And every single size, you have to go up by like millimeters, right? And then you have to laser etch those patterns out. So like the shoemakers can actually take those patterns and like make the shoes themselves. Then you talk about material costing, sourcing, base shoes. How much do base shoes cost you when you're only using the soles? Man hours alone just to make the shoes. Import costs, shipping. Like there's so many different back end costs to making shoes. It's like absurd. Like for the yellow lobsters, for instance, like we developed a screen to actually put these like dots for the skin on this leather. Like that's not just paint splatter like on canvas. Like, right, we actually ended up having to develop a screen for this, which took like 2.5 months, right? I mean, shoes aren't just like, okay, here's a shoe, right? And then depending on how expensive you want the materials, right? It's like if you want exotics, I mean, you're talking a whole nother ballpark. But I have shoes ranging at different prices, right? So like I've come up with a couple of different projects with Stomping Ground Customs out of New York, right? So he does the whole anime thing. So we're able to price these shoes a lot less because they're a painted shoe, right? They're not fully deconstructing it. Then we're having to source all of these materials and we're having to hand sew everything back. The fillers, everything. That's like painted shoes are a little bit more lenient. So I can kind of hit a price point where it's like you might not be able to afford like a $3,000 shoe, but you can afford an $1,100 shoe. So that's kind of why I'm hitting 2 different price points where I'm like, all right, I'll do some paint jobs. And there's a lot of cool creative painters out there that I want to kind of give them shine. And then, but I really, really want to move more into like full reconstruction. Like that's really when I want to go. Like I think with Dom and the shoe surgeon, he's kind of pushing himself out of the space because he's seeing there's like a lot more competition. So I don't know if you notice what he's doing now, like on his website, if you go, like shoes are minimal, like $6,000 now on his page, right? So we're trying to hit that like $2,000 to $3,000 price range where it's like you're getting a shoe that's worth that much money. Like when you get our shoes, it's going to last way longer than any Nike shoe you're ever going to have, right? It's like it's quality, but yeah, it's never about price gouging. It's always about trying to get it to the lowest possible point that you can be happy with, but still it's a business. Like with all the time and effort that goes into it, I mean, it's months and months of work and time and design and talking to vendors, and you see the final product, but you don't see what goes into actually putting that final product together. So.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that misconception too about customs, because there is such a, like right now, especially the fake market is so crazy, and so they'll see, like, kind of like you said, they'll see a shoe come out. There's fakes of shoes before they even come out, like you can go onto one of these fake websites and they have shoes that are scheduled to release, in a couple months, and they already have them. So I think they assume because that has kind of, the market for that has become so big and you can see it so much more, that it's an easy process. But for you, obviously what you're explaining is like you're a part and present in every step of the way, right? Like your shoes are literally to the very detail you're attentive to, and so people don't always understand that that creating isn't as easy as sending a picture to a Chinese factory and shoe.
No way, bro. I wish. I mean, sometimes it would be easy that way for sure. I mean, but again, I'm working with so many different individual makers that like this is their life. Like this is what they love to do. And so like it's not just me, at the end of the day, I'm a designer. If these guys don't agree to work with me and make my shoes, I don't have a business. So it's cool to see like all these different customizers now reaching out and being like, I just want to be a part of this. Is there any way we can like work on a project together? Instead of me like reaching out to people, like all these customizers are now reaching out to me. So it's sick. Now I'm just, all right, now I got to design. I just got to go into design mode and just keep designing, keep cranking projects.
Did you feel kind of validated? Like even the Kaws ones, like a lot of your projects recently have been just going crazy, but just like the Kaws ones, especially, I've seen them everywhere, like different Facebook groups, just like all over. I know a couple of your projects I picked up by like Complex and a bunch of different Johnnyskicks. I think I've seen them on. Does that feel like, do you feel validation for all the effort you've put in because you've been, people have been recognizing your work, or is it kind of just like, they maybe still don't understand the full extent of what you've done?
I think it's so crazy to actually, when you say that, because I kind of take it in sometimes. I'm like, man, it's crazy after all this, like the 7 years I've put into this and where I've worked and who I've worked with and all the events I've gone to, everything's finally kind of like just taken off. And I am very, very, very fortunate to have built relationships with Complex, with Johnnyskicks, with Sneaker Freaker magazine. So there's different news outlets that love to, show me love, which, I mean, it's huge for business. Because, I mean, if you guys see, man, once you get reposted by Johnnyskicks or Complex, like, there's so many more eyes on your page. And so it's like when I release a project and then, like, half of the media channels post it, I mean, you're talking about millions of eyes. Like the Kaws, Hypebeast posted the Kaws project. And, their post, I think, on their page, they normally get, like, 6,000-7,000 likes. That post got 37,000 likes for them. So it's just like, you think about 37,000 likes, how many eyes that is as far as impressions goes. That's a 500,000 to 750,000 eyes. So for business, it's huge. And it's crazy to think that every single release that I've released so far is sold out. Every single release. It's blows my mind, but I'm just super humbled by it that people want the shoes that I'm creating.
Well, honestly, you deserve it, man. You deserve so much more. Staying true to the culture, of course, and all the work you've put into these designs and stuff that we're just hearing about now. Yeah, this one is crazy. This is like, when I saw this one, whoo, this is fire.
I took the button, actually sewed the button on there, which was sick. And
no way.
Yeah, I got the Stewie Ray gun insoles.
Oh, gosh.
So this was a sellout too. This sold out, I think, in an hour. So we ended up doing 10 pairs of this. The carbon fiber, dude, this shit was this took forever to figure out how to do that, but like it was so worth it because when you look at the LeBron James one, like he's got the carbon fiber on that back. So I was like, yeah, I gotta try to emulate it as much as I can. But this was like a 5-month project right here. This took forever.
You could tell. There was definitely time. Oh man.
Yeah, crazy.
We have about 5 minutes left of the show, and I think it would be awesome if you could just grab a couple more pairs and show them, and then maybe share a couple of insights or stories about them.
Yeah. All right, so the Freddy Krueger Sakai's, really, really fortunate. After I posted this, about a day after I ended up posting it, Kevin Hart ended up following me and DMing me, and then ended up ordering 2 pairs of these. So I'm actually shipping his 2 pairs out to him on Monday with 2 special boxes for Moon Dust. So this is a pretty special project. And he's going to be ordering a bunch of shoes for me in the future, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
That's dope.
Shout out to Kevin Hart.
Did you make the shoes that small? Do they come that small?
I know, right? Another one, he was so funny because it was in the topic before I hopped on, but my own version. And this, I actually ended up having this done about a week before, like those sample images posted of Kanye. But Chef Hugh Lee, I'm sure you've seen him. He does all the Union stuff and Chicago Off-White stuff, but he ended up painting these for me. But fun little. This was like the OG pair. I'm gonna show you one project. So it's coming. All right, this is a first look, sneak peek. No one else has seen them. Coming probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited about these guys. I'll tell you.
Oh,
What the Grateful Dead bears.
These are crazy.
Whoa. Wow.
So got my light is kind of bright on these, but the remade and then Johnnyskicks. So, and then we actually, what's cool about these is we actually went true to form, and we ended up putting in the stash pocket on those. So
Nice.
pretty deep, but yeah, first look. I actually just got this sample in today, so it's crazy, man. This one turned around real quick, but I think we're gonna do about 20 units of this. Just don't know exactly when, but I've been begged over the last couple of weeks to release this shoe, so it's been in the works and just got the sample in today. So
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
you can create anything, man. That's what it's like. It's crazy.
Those are awesome.
But again, off of Facebook IG live conversation, we were literally like, "Yo," like I can make those for you. I was like, "Run it." And then 3 weeks later, it's like, "Yeah, I got them." So I think that's what's sick, man. I think any shoe that you've ever wanted, like, if you can design it, if you can draw it, if you can think of it, you can reach out to somebody and have it made. I think that's what's so cool. It's like seeing all these different designs that I had in my head, and then like I put it on the computer, and now seeing them all like just in hand, I can like put them on my feet. Nuts.
Crazy.
And then I'll show you one more. It's a sample that didn't release yet. It's gonna be releasing later this year, but we have to redo it to make it perfect. But these are gonna come around Black Friday. So we got the black Kaws.
Wow. Very, very, very
Glow
fun.
in the dark soul. So as you can see, you really can't see the gloves on it. So it's so punched in because it's so rich of black in the suede. So we're actually going to do a screen. It's going to lay a gray glove over it, and then we're actually going to emboss the gloves right over it, so it's going to have some contrast. But yeah, full glow in the dark. I mean, glows. But yeah, it's pretty much same Kaws character. Got the X's on the back. Yeah, got that's thick super land or goat skin leather on the inside.
Wow.
Crazy, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the sample pair, but
Can you hold those and the gray ones up together?
yeah.
People who are just tuning in, these Kaws ones are crazy.
That's wow.
Like, bro, it's
I just
crazy.
want to touch them.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, the suede. And that's the thing is, like, all these were made with Connor or CSMC. I mean, the quality of his work is like absurd. Like, it's like when you talk about factory style, like, again, because I've worked with the shoe surgeon, you know, I don't know if I showed you guys these ones before, though. I showed you these guys, right?
No.
Okay, yeah. So these are what the Jordan 1 that was actually gifted to me by Dom, aka the shoe surgeon. So they're pretty much like a what the scrap. So like every single panel of the shoe is like completely different.
That's crazy. Those are beautiful.
That's got Easter written all over him.
Hey, well, it's so funny.
Hey, yep.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. It says like Happy Easter, the shoe surgeon. But
And look at those materials.
But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, when you talk about quality, I mean, it's up there, man. It's like shoe surgeon, CSMC. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of really top guys as far as reconstruction goes. But I mean, the remade killed the dunks, though. I mean, these what the dunk bears. These were made by the remade out in Japan. I mean, they killed these. They were the ones that did my Python off whites. So the remades were the ones that did my Euro edition Python.
Fire.
So I've been beating these up for like a year straight. So
Nice.
yeah, customs, man. I swear, I'm getting rid of all the retail pairs.
I wouldn't be mad about having that kind of collection. That's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's dope, man. That's dope because you see, like, you know, I think what is cool about it just in this conversation is that everyday people could also have customs that are dope because you're so used to seeing celebrities or like basketball players or, you know, athletes have them and they're crazy. But then like you is like almost symbolic, like, yo, anyone can create something this crazy and it's available to everyday people, not just, you know, your PJ Tuckers, which is dope, but not just like your PJ Tuckers or athletes like that.
Well, I think right now with where the sneaker and the market is right now, especially with resale, it's like, as you've noticed, it's like everything is really reselling. And I feel like out of all times of sneakers, this is the hardest time to try to find a sneaker that you want for retail. It's like, I mean, there's always been bots, but like for now, I mean, I haven't hit on sneakers. I haven't got a retail, like a shoe for retail in over a year. I can't get it. So for me, I'm like, I might as well just create everything that I want because resale for all the dunks especially are going for what, $12 to $2,000 on average. So it's like, would you rather buy you know, a retail SB that, you know, Nike made 10, 15,000 pairs of, or would you rather want like a 1 of 10 or even a 1 of 1? Because at that point, I know customizers that'll make you a 1 of 1 custom shoe for like $1,200, $1,500, depending on what you want. So for me, I'm like, when you rather want a 1 of 1, that you can kind of do your own thing. But then people, you know, they love the retail nostalgia of shoes. I mean, I get it, you know. So we're living in a bespoke universe now, man. I swear, everybody wants something no one else has, and you know, I'm kind of just hitting this market where I'm like, if I can make everything that you want, why not?
Yeah,
man. I really hope we can get to the point one day where we can design a shoe and put it out there for our viewers to cop design with. Maybe even you one day, you know, but that would be
I mean, for sure. I mean, as much as we can all work together, I'll say it, man. I mean, that's my whole thing is based off of just working with other people, relationships, you know, just building collaborative projects with other people because you never know where it's going to lead. And everybody's got a creative mindset. I mean, between the three of you guys, I'm sure you can come up with a pretty dope ass shoe. So it's like, for me, it's just me. I'm just there to facilitate it, help actually finish final designs, and then just connect the maker. And then at that point, it's just as long as you have a bag to pay for it, you can make anything you want. I think that's what's so sick. It's like with whatever materials you want, no matter what stitching, no matter what silhouette, it can get developed. All you got to do is get a retail pair, and then all we have to do is break it down, develop it, and then you have your own shoe.
Man, that makes me excited. Now I'm like, my wheels are turning. Like, what shoe?
I was like,
what
should we do?
We'll start talking about
I want to do that. I want to do like a follower contest where I think I want to do it on the 1st of January, where I literally post on my Instagram. I'm like, yo, if you could design any shoe that you want, any shoe, any material, any sole on any upper, I don't care what it is. Like, if you could have like a dream shoe, what could you do? I want to take like the top like 16 and put it in a bracketing system and then just make whatever wins. Like kind of like the Sean Wotherspoon thing with that Nike did. I want to do my own version, but allow that one person to like actually see their shoe realized and then end up just giving them a shoe after we like sell it for like a limited run. Just like the Sean Wotherspoons. I think like I wish Nike did that more often. I wish that was like a yearly thing where they actually allowed people to create, like just anyone, like just create and then put you in a pool and then see what happens. Because I mean, look what happened and how iconic that shoe is. Yeah. So I wish they did that more often.
Yep. And no shot at Nike, but they have some trash designers up there. Like there's some silhouettes that come out, and I'm like, who approved that? Like
the good thing is
who gave that the thumbs up?
I am glad that they're actually pushing it though. Like when you look at a company like Adidas, they're just like, okay, what's in our archives? Okay, let's just put that and that together. That sounds cool. At least with like, especially with this year for me, I love the whole space hippie idea, like the ISPA. I think that whole idea with just recycling stuff. I think that's not everything's gonna hit for sure, but as a designer, I appreciate that companies like Nike are actually like pushing design boundaries. That, and I honestly, one of the most slept on companies, in my opinion, in sneakers is Li Ning. I think Li Ning is one of those companies that just like pushes design like in a whole another atmosphere. Like if I could design a shoe with any company, it'd be Nike or Li Ning. I swear.
Interesting. Cool, man. Well, it is 8:07, which means where you are it's 11:07. So that means it's time to go to sleep. But once again, man, we really, really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Our viewers, I'm sure, have thoroughly enjoyed just watching what you have to show and listening to what you have to say. You're a dope guy and you make some dope products. And I think the sky is a limit for you. So I think we're privileged to have had you on our show. I think when you become like the biggest of the big, it will be like, hey, he was with us before he really blew, like you haven't blown already. But like, man, we're excited for you and for your future. And again, we appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Dude, man, truly humbled. Honestly, I appreciate you guys for even thinking about having me on. It's amazing. It's exciting to see. I mean, I feel like I just talked to you guys not too long ago, and to see where it's just gone from then to like just in this short few months. It's exciting to see where it's gonna lead. And now that I'm doing this full time, I quit my job about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So like this is like full bore. So exciting to see. I got about 10 more shoes releasing this year. And then we're already working into 2021 All-Star Weekend. A lot of cool projects coming, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys just for having me on. It's very much appreciated.
Dope. All right. Well, before we let you guys go, we wanted to let you know who is our special guest for next week's episode. And that is none other than one of the local guys here in Spokane. His name is Austin Elo, and we're excited to have him on the show. Aaron, if you want to throw his picture up there for me. There we go. Austin is one of my guys, one of my clients that I cut hair for, and he does nothing but bring heat into the shop when he's getting his haircut. Like he shows up to the shop wearing some of these. He's coming wearing some Off-White ones. He's coming wearing some Travis Scotts, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna get hair all over these. What are you doing? But he doesn't care. He's obviously got some heat, and he's got some cool stories, and his background is pretty interesting. If you are a big basketball fan and you know your history, you'll recognize the last name Elo. His father was in the NBA, and I think we'll probably spend some time talking about that when he's on the show. But we're looking forward to it. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Johnny, again, we appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. But I think that'll wrap up episode 5. Episode 5 of the Goody Two Shoes Show. We appreciate everybody, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Johnny. Peace. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you.
Peace.